Welcome back, everybody, to Let's Play Planescape Torment. I am the Great Genie, as always, and this is part 5 of our adventure through the City of Doors. When we last left off, we did a good deed when we went ahead and tore up somebody's dead contract in which they would take control, the Dustmen would take control of somebody's dead body and force them to eternal servitude. So, as a result of that, we learned that Farad, the man we've been looking for, is hidden beneath Rag Picker's Square here in the town. That we need a portal to go ahead and teleport through, and that we need some junk in order to open the portal. So without said junk, we're not going to be getting very far. We also met another companion, Dakon, who is, as you can see, looks a little not human, but then again, I don't know if any of our party members so far you could consider human, but I wanted to go ahead and just get to know him a little bit more as we progress on our journey. Last time, we kind of had a little bit of a philosophical conversation about the city as a whole, the form it takes, and we repeated some words that he seems to have said in the past, whether to us or in general, we don't know. But as a result of that, he pretty immediately said, okay, let's travel together. And so I kind of want to just get to know him a little bit more. There are things that I would like to know. Let's learn a little bit about the Githzerai, the species that he essentially falls under. So just kind of tell me a little bit about them. Dakon is silent for a moment. Know this and accept it as an answer. We are the people who make our home upon the shifting plane of limbo. Slips the blade from his back and holds it before him. I don't know if we've heard this before, because when we first initially talked to him, we learned about this blade that he has that essentially shifts in response to something about him, apparently his voice. Yes, so we have heard this. Let's go ahead and ask a little bit about our travels. What can you tell me about the city itself? Okay, yes. It does not know itself. So this is kind of a repeat of some of the things that we've already talked with him, but let's ask him a little bit about a journal. Or, well, Farad, of course, is probably that one is not known to me, of course. So I doubt you would probably ask or know about our journal that we misplaced, but, you know, might as well. The location of such a thing is not known to me. Yes, well, it does occur to me that we are running around this fairly large, I would assume, city, and asking random people if they have seen a journal. No description of said journal, if they've just seen some random-ass journal that we have presumably left thrown around the city. And of course, nobody's gonna have an answer for that. Why would they know where a basic journal is? We must sound like a crazy person, but then again, we also look like a crazy person. Let's talk about your teachings. Can you teach me anything of weapon craft? Dakon shakes his head. I can redirect one towards the craft of war, but I cannot advance their skill. My weapons are not of steel, but of will and knowing of the self. If I ever need to resume the fighter profession... Okay, so that, I assume, is our class. Interesting. What about the arts that he was talking about? Know that I am not a teacher in this, but know that I may serve as a guide. I do not know how humans come to be versed in the art, but when you learn the art, return and ask again. Okay, so presumably he can be both a fighter and a mage that can teach us, but in order for us to learn more about it, we're going to be required to know of the mage profession first. I believe Barkus is the owner of the bar. We've been informed by two guys sitting up here of this man that we probably should talk to him a little bit. So let's see. You see a leather-skinned man with just a hint of ashen color to his face. His teeth seem sharper than normal, and his eyes are filled with the boredom that comes with having seen too much. His voice is nasal and clipped. You again, eh? What do you want this time? Well, great sign. You again? What do you mean? Yeah, you again? You got a hearing problem or something now? You was in here about 15 years ago, got all bubbled up, smashed up the place, and left a pile of coin that wasn't enough to pay for the damages. So you plucked out your own bleeding eyeball and tells me you'll be back to reclaim it when you got 200 coins together. With 15 years of interest, you got about 500 coins. You got the jink, pal? I got your eye. Okay, so 15 years ago, we caused a commotion in this bar, and to pay for the damages, plucked out our eye and threw it on the counter. Clearly, God, we're just such a great person, aren't we? We don't have enough. We're not getting our eye back. Okay, that's, you know what? Fair enough. I guess we'll come back when we can buy our eye back. But also begs the question, we have 2 eyes. Where did we get the other eye? Who are you? Me? I'm Barkus, owner and keeper of this place. Well, what is this place? Didn't you see the sign out front? Didn't you see the Burke burning over the fireplace when you came in? It's the Smoldering Corpse Cutter, best damn bub house in Sigil. At least, it's the best damn bub house in this part of the hive, which makes it one of the best in Sigil. Hell, they got fancy places with plants and such in the ladies' ward, and they got fiendish taverns salted around the rest of the hive, but none of them got the character of the Smoldering Corpse. Well, who is the corpse? Him? Ignis. He used to be a flame wizard, burned down pieces of the hive, and got himself scragged by a bunch of other mages. You want to know more about him? Go talk to Drizilla down there by the door, which we already essentially did last episode. We learned a little bit more about him, so okay. Hurry it up, will you? I got paying customers. All right, well, what can you tell me the patrons here? Jesus, paragraph of text. I don't make it a point to interfere with the lives of the people who give me their hard-earned jink unless they ask me to. So, over there is Candrian, Planewalker. He's a good one to talk about with any planewalking questions you might have. He's been pretty much anywhere. Down there is Eb Creeknees, an old harmonium basher. Don't hold that against him. And a tout. He's got a good heart in him, and he knows Sigil up and down. Them fiends over there are Eighthville Grin and Tegarin, who we also talked to last episode. Word of advice, don't deal with them. They might be low rankers in the fiend hierarchy, but they're still fiends. Then you got Ilquicks over there, not trustworthy. And some mercy killers looking for some poor sod. Dagon, the Gith Sarai, is a mystery to me. Don't know much about him. He don't talk much. Finally, you interested in nerding some free bub? Sure. There's a bubber over there against the far wall, hanging about in the shadows, who's been trying to work up her courage to slip out without covering her tab. I want you to make sure she doesn't do that. You do it, you got free bub here for life. All right, you know what? Sure, why not? I'm looking for a journal. Tell me where the journal is. A journal, paper, and words? Friend, that sort of thing don't get much stock down here in the hive. Folks here can barely read the sign above the door, much less an entire journal. If you're looking for a journal, you'd better have a system. Instead of asking folks willy-nilly, yeah, well listen, if I had a system to find said journal, I wouldn't be asking folks willy-nilly, Barkus, and yet here I am, asking for folks willy-nilly. Give a guy a break. I'm looking for Farad. He turns and spits on the floor. Farad? Bah. You may as well just turn your back and let him sink a dagger into it. Oh, from the looks of you, you already have. If you're dead set on finding Farad, pardon the fun. Pardon the pun. It was a fun pun, to be fair. Talk to Eb Creeknees over there. He should know something about you. Okay, sure. I believe he was over here. You see a slightly stooped old man with a full gray beard and a lion's mane of gray hair. He wears a couple of shoulder guards as armor, and he keeps a helmet nearby. He smokes a pipe and carries a pouch of tobacco around his waist. He looks pretty strong, but he's still a little plump and also appears to have some sort of breathing trouble. Well now, aren't you a sight, lad? Never have I seen so many scars blanketing a fella, like a scar cloak you're wearing. Where have you been? Hanging out in a grain thresher? He laughs. Oh, I'm just jesting with you, lad. No offense meant, and I hope no offense taken. I'm Eb. Okay, fine, Eb, but you're on thin ice. His handshake is firm. Now I hereby tender my apologies for the unfair jesting, lad. Hope no hard feelings. Can I buy you a tankard or two of something to smooth any ruffled feathers? Why not? That's the spirit, lad. Bide a moment. He rises to his feet and heads to the bar. After a moment, he returns to his seat with a pair of tankards. Here you go, lad. Drink up. He takes a massive swallow from his own tankard, puffs on his pipe, and says, What can old Eb do for you on this fine Sigil day? I had some questions about this place.
Oh, well, I gathered that just to look at you. I mean, you don't look like you're from around these parts, lad. You look a little too out of sorts to be a seasoned native.
Ebb chuckles, then takes another drink.
So, what can I help you with, lad? You need to know the lay of the land?
Ebb winks. What a nice, jolly old man. Who are you?
Ebb Creekney's third measure of the harmonium, now retired, and being a tout with one's voice since I don't step as lightly as I might these past 2 or 3 decades, he chuckles. Now, lad, who be you and what trouble might you be in?
Well, let's learn a little bit about what a third measure is first. Ebb puffs up slightly in pride and gets a semi-stern look on his face.
Aye, third measure of the harmonium.
He relaxes a little.
Oh, I haven't served a tour of duty in many a decade. Pushing a quill wasn't quite up my alley after all the fights and skirmishes I've been in, so I just bide my time keeping tabs on things down here in the hive and helping out a little where I can. And you look like someone who might need a hand. Are you in some kind of trouble, lad?
What kind of fights and skirmishes have you been in? Ebb rolls his eyes.
More than I can remember, lad. Well, almost more than I can remember, leastwise. I did an all too long tour in the Blood War, that infernal muck-up war of lies on Terrace, far too many years in the Black Centuries War.
Ed begins to tick off the wars on his fingers and counts silently to himself.
Then there was the Three Plains War and many others. I even took part in the Harmonium War of Liberation. Oh, towards the end there, I was also in the Sigil City Watch. Some could argue that was the most dangerous of them all.
He laughs loudly. The mention of the Blood War feels like a cold dagger slipping into your heart. I wonder if that means that we have some familiarity. I know we talked about the Blood War a little bit last time with those two lizard-like creatures. Kind of learned it was a bit of a civil war between their species, but if he took part in it, then I'm kind of curious. Ebb sighs, oblivious to your reaction.
Aye, the Blood War. The most dangerous family feud this side of the primordial soup. A mean-spirited mob of fiends on one side, a batch of warmongering fiends on the other. It's the war that creation sparked, and they've been digging into each other ever since.
Creation? Like, literal creation? Two sets of fiends warring against each other, eh?
Aye, the Tenari, vicious killers who care for none but themselves, and the Batazu war machine, all for law and order under their infernal rules. The whole mess spills out into the other planes from time to time, and it's made the multiverse a less pleasant place to live.
Okay, I guess that's all we're getting from that. Do you know someone named Farad?
Farad?
Ed frowns, takes the pipe from his mouth.
Now, lad, what do you be wanting with a Burke like Farad?
I think let's play our cards close to our chest. We don't really know who this man is. I think he stole some of my belongings.
Oh, no doubt, lad, no doubt.
Ebb grumbles, chewing on his pipe. Ebb, rather.
You have to chain up everything around that grasping little spider. He should have been one of the fated, the way anything not chained down slips into his parlor. Don't give him a yard or he'll take a league, eh?
What do you know about him?
Well, now I don't know everything there is to know about old Farad, but I know some of the dark surrounding him. If you're determined to track down that spider and nail him to a wall, then I suppose I could spill some of the chance so you know what you're tangling with.
He pauses to tamp his pipe.
Farad dug his nest deep into Ragpicker Square not too long ago, got a bunch of collectors and gangs together and started what one could almost consider a collecting faction. Be that as it may. Well, we already kind of know where we can find him, but let's see if he has more info. Well, lad, if you're looking for Farad, which I would say is pretty barmy of you, you're a little off the beaten path. You want to be finding Ragpicker Square. Chant is that Farad set up his kip somewhere in the square. Even an old fellow like me who's been around the ring a few times don't know exactly where. I figure that Farad wants to keep the dark of his location dark. If you're all bound and determined to find Farad, go to Ragpicker Square and try and dig up Farad's location from some of the locals. Try and be careful about it, since there's plenty in the square that would make a gut harp out of you as soon as you look at you.
Alright. We do know it's under the square. Not really sure how to get there, but we'll see. You know, I am missing a journal.
You're missing a journal? Was there more to this journal than just pages and words? Otherwise, I can't imagine too many bloods who would bother themselves with letters, unless it was really hot and spicy. Not much use for books of learning around here. I don't know where you might find such a thing.
Ed puffs on his pipe, then he snaps his fingers.
But, you know, lad, if Farad is the one who scraped you off the Sigil Street, then he might know of the dark of where your stuff is.
Yeah, well, that's kind of what we figured.
It's most likely in his larder, if you ask me. A dead man is usually in no position to keep his possessions when the collectors tumble across his body.
Alright. Who are you? Kind of already know. What's a tout?
Well, that's a good thing you asked that, because now you've told me that you're green and a tout's about the best person a clueless could have run into on the streets of Sigil, and I'm just the man somebody like you is in need of.
He takes a drink.
A tout's a friendly city guide, shows you what's what, gives you a little jaunt about time. A guide is the best way to look at it. Except I don't really leave this chair on account of my age, so mostly I suggest directions and places you might want to see in your travels in our fair city. They'll cost you a cent.
Why is it free?
A tout who can't move can't command much of a price, lad. By the powers, 'twould be unfair to charge for just a bag of words.
Well, how old are you?
Old enough to know better, lad, and too old to walk much.
He puffs on his pipe.
Let's just say me best years are behind me, and there's only a few irons that keep this heart beating.
What irons?
Well, lad, not to bring down the conversation, but I'm hoping that one day a holy fellow will be making his way to the old smouldering corpse bar, and hopefully he'll strive me of some of my private sins so I can go on and step off this plane for good.
So you're looking for some redemption in some form, and as soon as you get that, you're going to die? Yeah, I can't imagine that we would relate to that at all. Well, if you're gonna tell us about the town, then might as well. Ebb laughs loudly.
You don't think small, do ya? If you want to know what's outside the city, go talk to Candrian Ilborn over there. He's a traveler of this place. As for the rest of it, well, I can tell you of the lady, the Dabus, keys, and portals, the way we keep track of time, the way the city's laid out. What was it you wanted to know?
Well, we've learned about this lady, Lady of Pain, I believe her name was, who is essentially the ruler, but let's learn a little bit about her.
Well, no, not many know much about her, lad, and I'm figuring even those that know more than a little don't know too much more. She's a mystery, she is, and even should you run across her, powers forbid, she's silent and deadly.
Much like gas, yes.
She's not evil, far as I can tell, but she keeps the dark about herself and Sigil pretty tight. None's been able to penetrate it, and even if they have, they've been mazed.
Mazed? What do you mean?
Aye, sometimes bloods will be packed off to a place where they can't do no harm. The lady, see, she'll take a bit of Sigil, and she'll make a little dimensional pocket out of it, a maze. She places those that have crossed her in there and lets them rot.
Ed puffs his pipe.
No, you can't escape getting mazed once the lady sets her gaze on you, lad. She'll get you eventually, no matter how hard you try and dodge her. You'll be walking down an alley, or about to step through a portal, or take a left turn down a street you've gone many folds time before, and suddenly you're someplace you don't recognize. No, mazes aren't escape-proof. There's always a way out of each one. A portal the lady places there. You just have to figure where it is and how to use it.
So, cross this lady, the ruler of this town, and she creates a virtual pocket dimension, a maze, that she traps you in, gives you a chance to escape it should you know where the portal is and how to use it. Maybe as a warning? I'm not really quite sure, but not a great fate. Tell us of the Dabas that we have met around the city. Just kind of sound like workers.
Aye, those funny floating bloods that speak in symbols.
Ebb laughs.
Quite a piece of work, eh? The Dabus are kind of the lady's janitors and workmen, doing exactly what she wants. Make sure Sigil is running up to snuff, patching walls, tearing down old buildings, building new ones, setting up portals, sealing off others, and on and on. You're a pretty neutral faring bunch, and you don't want to interfere with one or kill one, or you'll bring the lady's wrath down on you right quick.
So if we kill one, by happenstance, I'm not saying it's gonna happen, but if we do kill one, we might learn a little bit more about this lady. Good to know for the future. I had some other questions about Sigil. Tell me of Sigil's time.
The way we measure time in Sigils by the brightness of the sky. See, we haven't got a sun and moon like most worlds. We just got this everlasting haze that brightens and darkens at regular cycles. What most folks call midnight, we call anti-peak. What they call noon, we call peak. See, it's based on the peak and anti-peak of the brightness. So when somebody says something about 5 hours past peak, that's what they mean.
So time is measured much in the same way as hours, as one might imagine, but there's an eternal haze in the sky that we can't really see, a sun or a moon or anything like that. Tell me the city's layout.
Whew, let me wet my tongue.
He takes a pull from his tankard.
The city floats above an infinitely tall spire. The spire. It lies on its side like a discarded wagon wheel, but there's no spokes that connect it to the spire. It's divided into 6 wards, each of them with its own function. Right now, you're in the Hive. I think the purpose of the Hive is to be squalor to the rest of the city's grandeur.
He laughs.
Factions, philosophical clubs, or gangs, if you prefer, divide up the running of the city between them.
All right, let me get this straight. We're on a city. I understand that we're in an infinitely tall spire, balancing on a spire, but not only that, we are on the side of said spire. So what we perceive as flat up vertically is in fact horizontally, and we are just gravitationally pulled to said city that is also pulled to said spire through unknown means. Listen, I don't claim to understand much about this city, but I feel like I just understand even less now than I did a couple minutes ago. Were you in a faction? Ebb raises his hand as if to stop you and laughs slightly.
Oh, now hold on, lad. I'm no has-been faction member, they say. And they're right, that once you're one of the Harmonium, you're a Harmonium for life. You're the Bloods that try and make sure Sigil stays out of trouble. No rocking the spire, no folks getting too over-enthusiastic about hurting each other, keeping the city down to a low roar. We try and keep the peace, lad. Most times, we do a decent job.
Alright, well lastly, tell us of the keys and portals.
Sigil's calls the city of doors for a reason, lad. There's portals everywhere. Portals are, well, like doors that lead across the multiverse, except they don't look like doors. Instead, they can be any bounded space. Window, door, pothole, picture frame, barrel hoop, the spaces inside scaffolding, a wardrobe. Each could be a portal, waiting for just the right key to open it and take you someplace in the multiverse. Now, keys... each portal has a key, you need to open it. Now, while portals can be any bounded space, keys have more variety. They can be anything from a little tune you hum when next to the portal, to dancing a jig, to being in the right mood, to having a piece of the place you want to go in your hand, and on and on. In my youth, I once convinced a girl that kissing a man beside it could open a portal to Arcadia. Turned out, I was right, and many trips to Arcadia did we have. Many portals probably have never been found. There's some you can uncover just by asking people and getting the right key. Finding out the dark of a portal is the toughest part. But I warn you, lad, portal hopping shouldn't be a pastime for a fella in your way, nor should you be wandering Sigil after dark neither. You do best to stick to the main ways in open peak and watch yourself.
Interesting. Yeah, so, I mean, I guess we already knew this about portals. Like, there are a variety of different ways that we can unlock them through different keys. So I guess that's not too surprising, but I can only imagine that this city that we're in here is kind of like the main hub of our adventure, and that various portals might take us to other planes of existence entirely that maybe we have more limited access to. I don't know, I'm only guessing, but I guess, you know, we'll find out. What other places can you recommend?
Well,
Ed pulls on his pipe and studies you.
this is perhaps the best keep you could have wandered into from the start. Judging by your tattoos, you might be partial to having designs on your body, in which case there's a tattoo salon a little spireward from here. You might want to stay away from the alley of dangerous angles if you can. Ignis torched that place not long ago, and ever since, a bunch of bad bloods have set up their camp in that stretch of desert.
Interesting. So there is a tattoo salon a little spireward from here. I don't know what direction that is, but if we had tattoos carved on ourselves, it could be that that person, the person who got our tattoos on us, might know a little bit more about why we came in there. Are you the person who's been about ready to leave without paying? What do you want? I believe we talked to him last time. I don't remember what the voice is, but Barker says it's time for you to settle your tab. Pay up. Ah, right, it's this lady. She jumps a little and her nervous tension becomes full-fledged anxiety. What are you going to do? Ask you to... Yeah, I mean, we kind of already asked her question, so pay up. I can't afford it. Can you spot me just 10%? I'll give it to him, and he knows I'll pay the rest. How much do you need? Because we could get some free drinks out of it. I think I need about 100 coins to get started on that debt. Listen, I don't know. That's almost everything we had, and I just don't know that we're in the position to loan her this money, because I feel like we might need it later. So can you think of another solution? Another way to pay? She smiles sadly. You could always kill me. I'm gonna be back later. We'll come back to this bar, see if we become ludicrously wealthy in our adventure, and see if there's anything we can do for this woman. But as of right now, I'm not really interested. Let's look a little bit more around. We've kind of just started exploring.
All right.
Let's see if there's a tattoo salon. You have a name. You see a young woman dressed in a tight leather bodice and leggings. She smells faintly of cheap perfume, and her face, though pretty, is painted with garish makeup. She smiles coyly as she sees you. Seeking some company, love? Alright, she's not answering any questions. There was also another person with a name kind of close by. Hey, whoa, 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 whoa! What the hell? Man, I don't ask for a whole lot, but I guess we're in another fight. Hopefully, this is the last fight that we need to get in, and people will leave us alone. It's 3 against 2 now. I don't think this is going to go well for you. Please, leave us alone. I'm just trying to get answers. I just want to get answers. And listen, I'm trying to be a good person, right? I don't know much about myself, but I do know that if I woke up and I had no memory of myself, but I knew that I was running around causing potentially dangerous things, cruel things, then listen, I would want to maybe mend my ways as well. But unfortunately, I'm being forced to kill people over and over and over. Let's talk to this man, barking wilder. This wild-eyed man is hunched over, snarling and giving low growls. Looks like he hasn't trimmed his hair in years. It's so long, it forms a veil over his eyes. He has a long, stringy mustache, caked with grease and sweat, and the tips of his mustache droop so much they become tangled in his ragged beard. Take a shower. But, you know what? Let's speak a little bit of his language. Let's growl at him. The man stops in mid-snarl and he reaches up to part the curtain of hair that covers his eyes. As his withered hand pulls away his dirty locks, several strange puce-colored bugs fall from his hair, wonderful, and scatter across the cobbles. Behind his cloak of hair, the man's flesh is moon-pale and creased with wrinkles. His thick, bushy eyebrows form a V as he stares at you. And might take the moonfly too? Are you a werewolf? Are you a werewolf? What in the ever-loving hell is this response? No, not today, my friend. The man frowns, but his eyebrows tilt upwards in a reverse V, creating a bizarre expression. You've no idea how he accomplished the facial expression, but it makes you uncomfortable watching the muscles behind his face shift into the new pattern. You can't tell whether he's angry, curious, both, or neither. Sinkins, speak a man. Answers prefer a woodwoman heart. What in the ever-loving hell is this? A single kiss speaks a woman heart, but a man's answer is what you prefer? Very well then. Yeah, okay. I'm just gonna be, no, I had some questions. The man throws back his head and howls. It's such a terrible sound that you're forced to cover your ears. Even that isn't enough. As you cover your ears, the howl seems to grow into a shrieking, drilling into your head, slipping inside your ears, burrowing beneath the skin, then crawling along the inside of your skull and eating the shreds of your sanity. The sound is so unbearable you can't muster the strength to speak. I think we're done. Well, that's a tree with one snap branch too many. Mort rolls his eyes. No sense in chatting with Zausitex, Chief. They're a barmy bunch. Pardon? They're a faction who don't have any rules. Except don't keep one thought in their head for too long. They're sometimes called Chaos Men. No need to explain why. How do they get members? And more importantly, can I join? They seem to just attract members like flies. Well, members that are crazy or chaotic enough, I suppose. I don't think they have any recruiters, though you can't really say anything about them for sure. Alright, not super helpful, but okay. What's this? Oh, tattoo parlor! Hello, Fel. Before I go pry into the back, let's at least talk and see if we can get some info out of you. Hello. You see a Dabus, but something about it strikes you as odd. It has the same shock of white hair, the same greenish cast to its skin, the same pair of goat horns. Then you suddenly realize this one is walking on the ground, not floating. For some reason, this makes you uneasy. Dakan, do you know any Dabus language? Oh, okay, he does. So, ask him who he is. As you're about to ask, you suddenly realize you already know the Dabus's name. His name is Fel. As if in response, the Davos inclines his head slightly and a lone symbol appears above its head. It is blurry at first, then resolves into a white oval with a black lightning bolt through it. What did he say, Dakon?
He is known as Fel.
Okay, well, clearly, we already know this man, so let's just go right out with it. I feel like I know you, Fel. Fel bows reverently, and a stream of symbols swirl about his head, rotating clockwise, then counterclockwise. It takes you a moment to translate. This is the first time, and not the first time, you have come to this place. What did he say, Dakon?
He has split his speech with a contradiction.
Dakon pauses for a moment, his black eyes swimming across the symbols.
He says it is the first time you have come to him. He says this is not the first time you have come to him.
Does he know who I am? Another series of symbols materialize quickly and sharply into focus above Fel's head. The translation comes to you just as quickly and sharply as the symbols themselves, and if you have translated the exact same string many times before. Clearly. So, interestingly enough, many times is, I don't know, because I assume we would only come here once to get the tattoos, but that indicates to me that there's some kind of relationship here that maybe goes even beyond that. Let's, I guess, learn a little bit more. Yes, but I am not permitted to tell your story. I wonder why. I can only assume that we told him not to tell us, but if that is the case, why would we say that when we're actively trying to seek out our memories? What did he say, Dakon?
You are known to him, but he cannot tell you what you want to know.
Why not?
Updated my journal.
For a moment there is no response from Fel, then a stream of rebuses appear as if trickling out of Fel's mind.
My apologies, I cannot change the nature of a man.
You can't explain why, but the last sentence sends a crawling sensation through your skull. Interesting. Yeah, I mean, the nature of a man clearly getting at who we are and the fact that he can't change us, but why would he say that? What did he say to Khan?
In place of an answer, he surrenders an apology for his silence.
Dakon pauses for a moment, and when he speaks again, his words are like ice.
He says that he cannot change the nature of a man.
As Dakon repeats these words, you feel a terrible pressure in your head that fades with the last word. Ask him what this place is. A slow train of symbols materialize around Fel's head. The symbols take several moments to resolve, starting with simple lines, then fleshing themselves out into breathtaking colors.
This is where I tattoo color and life upon flesh and bone.
What do you say, Dakon? Even though we clearly understand what he's saying.
He places pictures on flesh here. Tattoos.
Well, what tattoos does he have available? Can I have another? Oh, we can have another. So, I don't know what these do, unless... Okay, so this is just identifying things. I don't know what any of these do, but he has quite a few tattoos that we could theoretically get, none of which we can afford, but good to know for the future. Let's continue our conversation. Fel. Can I see what tattoos you have, Fel? Oh. I thought we were asking him what he had in terms of his tattoos on his body, not if we were going to go ahead and ask what he had for sale. Now I look a fool. What lies beyond the curtain, Fel? A caravan train of symbols slowly materialize around Fel one by one.
It is my gallery. Your discarded skins are my canvas. I admire you. I am saddened for you.
So, okay, my inclination that there was another deeper kind of relationship was right. Discarded skins? Like, as in, are we shedding literal skin? Or when we die, do we have different bodies? I presume, I can't assume that that's the case, but at the same time, why are you saddened for me? Another caravan of symbols forms around Fel, this time forming a circle.
The mark of torment lies upon your flesh. Planescape torment.
Sorry, I had to do that. Tragedies and loss have built themselves upon it like stones upon a foundation. You have endured great pain. Well, what do you mean? A long strings of rebuses appear above Fel's head, then surrounds his arms like manacles. No symbolism there, I'm sure. I admire you because you have never surrendered to the weight of these losses, despite the fact their chains hang on you still. Go on. A long string of abuses appear above Fel's head, then falls, covering him like a cloak. These losses blanket this life and all of your past ones. You shed lives like a molting serpent. You are exploring the infinite paths of life. I mean, I guess what he means by that, and what I can only assume, is that if this has been going on for a long time, which we know it has, centuries perhaps, I can only imagine that, listen, if we are in the situation where we're going through some kind of Groundhog Day, or we're living multiple lives, we can't die, I assume we're gonna try to do many different things, like, I don't know, like one life we would use to say, okay, well, listen, what if I robbed a bank for the first time? What if I went out and committed crimes like I've always wanted to? Not saying that I always wanted to, but like, you know, things that like, oh, what if I went skydiving? I might normally not try it for the thrill of it, but the danger. But like, you might pick up different skills, pursue different paths, and that's kind of like what he means by the infinite paths of life. There are many, 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 many things that you could go ahead and do. But tell me more. A long string of rebuses appears above Fel's head, then falls suddenly to the floor, streaming out behind him like a shadow. Take with you this warning. Each of your lives casts a shadow on existence. You must travel to a place where these shadows have gone mad, and regrets have scarred the earth. So, we already learned from Dianara that we essentially are going to be running into 3 different figures. I believe a figure of good, neutral, and evil, roughly translated, I think. But now it seems to me like these people that we are going to travel to are people who our shadow hangs heavily on. Probably people that have been severely impacted on us one way or another. So if that's the case, I almost wonder if we are going to be a bit of a nuanced character in that, hey, yes, we've done terrible things to one person, but, you know, maybe we've impacted this other person another way, and maybe we've impacted a third person based on how much good that we've done to them. We don't know. Because assumedly, we woke up and we have no control over we have no idea what our past is, only that we, as the player, are in control of this character, and we are basically assigning our beliefs, our morals onto him. But how many times has this happened? How many times has he woken up with absolutely no memory, with absolutely no personality to speak with, only developing it as he goes? How many different kinds of lives has he lived? Is there anything else you can tell me? A brief series of paper-thin rebuses appear in an orderly row next to Fel, then vanish into glowing motes. Do not sign anything. Okay, interesting, because I admit, in the back of my mind, I was half tempted to sign one of the dead contracts, because what are they going to do? They can't take control of my dead body. I can't die. But now I'm getting a very stark warning. Do not sign anything. And so, you know what? Fel, you're probably the only person that's been semi-good to me so far. Let's say okay. Another series of rebuses appear, forming a spiral. They have the texture of a question about them. Do you feel complete? Well, I mean, I don't see a reason to, like, look, if he already knows about our many deaths, we clearly had a connection with him, I feel okay admitting that we don't necessarily feel complete. Ever since we woke up in the mortuary, we feel like something's missing, something inside. Fel nods, and a series of symbols materialize in a halo around him. You are strong. Keep faith, and you shall become whole again. You know, thanks, man. I'll try. Do you know how I died? And literally, this could relate to any number of instances in which we died, but let's figure out. Fel does not respond for a moment, then slowly, menacingly, 3 symbols materialize above his head, each of them casting a long shadow. Shadows. Interesting. Okay, so this is maybe the second time he's referring to 3 specific figures as shadows. So I wonder if these figures have something to do with it. I wonder if Farron is one of these figures, because he seems to be somebody that has intimate knowledge of us in our journal. Clearly, the tattoos were carved into us beforehand because we knew of him. I don't know. The 3 symbols swirl about each other, each leaving a faint black, misty trail about them. They take on a ragged edge like teeth and talons and multiply. Where there were 3, there is 9. 9 becomes 27 until the room is a swarm of shadows. Many shadows. They streamed from the darkness, swarmed you, then left you to die. Why? The shadowed symbols swirl into one, then dissolve to be replaced with a simple symbol. I do not know. Okay, not ominous at all. Can you tell me... Listen, assuming you're the one who put this here, can you tell me anything about the tattoos on my body? Fel studies your body for a moment, walking about you. He mirrors each symbol as he examines it, then returns to face you. I know them. None are by my hand. Okay, great. So there's another tattooist that has carved this into our body. He's not the one, but we still know him quite well. Well, can you tell me about them? Fel nods, symbols appearing around him like fireflies. The ones upon your back were scribed with a careful hand and are directions for a mind that forgets itself. The symbol that lies upon your left shoulder is the mark of Torment. Torment, as we've heard. The symbol sharpens, gaining edges that are almost painful to your eyes. It is Torment. It is that which draws all tormented souls to you. Fel nods at your left arm at your shoulder. The flesh knows it suffers even when the mind has forgotten. And so you wear the rune always. Alright, I can't imagine we won't figure out what that means, but tormented souls are drawn to us. That's really great. Okay. I think that's about all we'll probably get. Our journal did update. Fel said he knew me, but that he couldn't tell me my story. But the strangest thing was the reason. He said he cannot because he cannot change the nature of a man. Well, let's invade his privacy. If we're back here, then... Okay. So does he like literally skin us? Like if we die, has he sometimes actually skinned our body? And I know that like we must have some regenerative properties if we can heal back, like if we can just heal ourselves. And if we lost an eye and have an eye back. So I guess it's not too much of a stretch that we lost our skin and grew it back. Human skin has been stretched across these wooden frames. The skins are covered with tattoos. Quite a few different skins. Okay. Well, it's nice talking to you, Fel. I'm a little creeped out, a little scared. I'm glad to have helped you succeed in your business. And Jesus Christ, I gotta get out of here. Who are you? Help! You see a thin man with stained clothes, a hook nose, and 2 stubby horns jutting from his forehead. He's stumbling about, muttering to himself. He sinks of brine, vomit, and cheap wine. How you doing, sir? Eh? The man squints blearily at you. What? Yeah, alright. I don't know where this is. I need to... Oh! What you first took to be a door in this archway is actually a painting. The artist has made use of the shadows of the overhanging arch and some subtle texturing effects to give the door the illusion of substance. Alright. No, that's really awesome. Like, what do you even want me to do here? Other than the skill of the artist, there's nothing remarkable about the painting. The door has been painted on a rough stone wall. You can feel the stone and mortar between the painted wooden texture. So, to me, that makes me think that that could potentially be a portal. And that we may need to have something or think something or whatnot in order to go through said portal. But it looks like we've more or less entered everywhere we can. Let's continue on to the southwestern portion in the direction of Farad. See if we can learn a little bit more about who we are. But it's interesting because I think that it's really interesting so far that we have learned a little bit more about ourselves, not just through, okay, let's get to Farad, he'll know everything, but because we have pieced together people that know us already in the town. They are already very familiar with us, and it's interesting. Apparently we've been here for a long time. Who are you? This old woman stands silently by the wall, staring off into the distance. She seems to be unconcerned with the flow of traffic around her and clutches a wooden pole from which dozens of small fish are dangling. Hello, ma'am.
Oh, hello, sir.
She squints at you for a moment, trying to discern your identity.
Oh, my. Here I was, thinking you're one of me regular customers.
She proffers her fish bowl.
Tuna, sir? Mackerel? Sea cucumber?
No fish. I just had some questions. Her mouth presses down into a tight-lipped frown. Listen, ma'am. I need to know if you've lost or found a journal. She shakes her head. Mouth closed tightly and continues to look over your shoulder. Each time you try to catch a glimpse of what she might be looking at, you turn her back to find her staring at you for the briefest of moments. Do I look familiar to you?
Goodness, no.
She pauses for a moment.
You do.
Okay. Have you seen me before?
I think ye are a man with your very likeness, sir. 'Twas so long ago.
Tell me.
Well, sir, you see, me sight's not so good now. 'Twasn't back then neither, but I thought I saw you walking past with a small group trailing along behind you.
Well, okay. What? Fishwife is crazy. What do these people look like?
It's hard to say, sir. 'Twas so long ago, and you walked by so quick-like. But I remember now the way you held your head up. There was a woman following you, trying to stop you, to get you to turn around, speak to her. But you pushed her away.
Well, I'll give you one guess as to who that woman probably is. Who is desperate to get our attention, and who we could not care less about. What happened then?
Beautiful woman she was. Looked so sad, so angry all at once. She stood there for a moment, then followed all along behind you, just the same, hustling to catch up.
You said there was a group. Who else was there?
She shrugs. There was at least 2 other gentlemen with you, sir. The only one I remember too clearly, though, was tall, thin. Reeked of bub, he did. I smelled him from across the way. Looked like he hadn't bathed in ages, too. He followed you close, he did, and never said a word. Acted like the woman wasn't even there, even when she bumped against him, trying to stop you. That's all I remember, sir.
So 2 gentlemen. One she remembers too clearly. Hadn't bathed in ages, followed close, and never said a word. What kind of people did we attract back then? And why would he not recognize her at all? Did we tell him not to acknowledge her, to make her, I don't know, depend on us? I frankly, I don't know. But I assume we'll learn more about this past party of ours. Let's give her some copper for her time. Let's not be too stingy, but let's not go overboard here.
Oh my, thank you, sir, most kindly. May the Lady Shadow pass you over.
Okay. So, interesting that as I'm talking about how so many people in this world know us, we see somebody who we just passed by, and oh, look at that, they already know us. So we're progressing in the hive. This here is where we originally started off. We're kind of snaking our way around just to kind of see what else there is to see. We did learn about the Office of Vermin and Disease Control previously. You know, maybe we'll pay a visit, see what's going on. It doesn't seem like the thugs in this area are aggroed. Let's, hey, Creedon, you have rabbits, or, sorry, rat bits. This foul-looking man is quick to notice he's caught your attention. In moments, he's upon you, hawking his wares. He carries a long wooden pole. Dozens of skinned and cooked rats dangle from it. As he speaks, he gestures to them with a broad, filth-encrusted hand, smiling a yellowed, snaggle-toothed grin all the while. I cannot speak, and that's okay. You're just gonna have to deal with it.
Oi, Cutter. Oh, you doing there? What sort of delicious ratsies is you interested in this fine day?
Let's look at the ratsies. Each rat has been skinned and gutted, their feet and tails removed. They dangle from the pole by hooks punched through their necks. As you examine the various manners in which they've been prepared, you realize their heads are slightly misshapen. A bulbous knot of bone protrudes from each cranium, covered in whorls that give it the appearance of brain tissue. Pretty strange-looking rats.
Aye, you've got a keen eye there, Cutter. All I sell is brain vermin, I do. I'm sure you'll find they've got a much richer flavor than your usual rat. Quite nice, really.
He proffers them to you once more, waving the pole before your face enticingly. The rats sway to and fro, hooked like tiny sides of beef. Okay, what's a brain vermin?
Aye, cutter brain vermin. Foul creatures they are. Now, your normal rats, they just eat stored goods and multiply, spread disease and all that. A nuisance, really, no more. Your cranium rat, though. Brain vermin, what I go after, they're just trouble. When you get more than a handful of the little pikers together, they start to get smart on you. Sometimes real smart.
They become more intelligent?
Sure, as I'm standing here before you, they do. If I ran across any more than 20 of them, I'd flee from me case like that.
He snaps to emphasize the point.
I would. You get many of them. That many of them in a pack, why? Oh, why, they get smart as a man, they do.
Okay, sure.
Here's my best advice for you, Cutter. If you're bent on catching brain vermin, stick to small packs, a dozen or so at most. But I'll tell you,
he steps close, his breath fetid in your face, and speaks in a hushed tone.
You run into more than that, more than a couple dozen. You run like you're in the shadow of the lady.
Alright, that's good. What is there to fear about rats?
Sorcery, Cutter, sorcery. You get enough of these little fiends in a space, they gain all sorts of odd powers. Make a basher's brain, pour out his ears, they will. Downright frightening. It's just wrong, I tell you. That's why Sigil's so eager to be rid of them. The bounty and all.
Sigil? Okay, well, no. I know what Sigil is. Someone pays for rat's tails?
That's right, Cutter. There's a Burke in the Office of Vermin and Disease Control. Name's a Lort.
Name a lord who pays a bounty for them.
A copper a head or tail. A copper a head. Tail it is, eh?
But they gotta be brain vermin they do, not just ordinary rats. Tell me about this Lort fellow.
His name's Phineas. Phineas Lort. Think he was sort of high up. He was put down by his rivals and stuck here in the arse and the Sigil. The Burke sits in there all alone the night and day. It seems waiting for folk to bring in tales and paying them the bounty. You know the best part? Poor sod must be allergic to rats because he always got a huge rash going. Powers be praised I ain't that fella.
Put down? Any idea why that would happen?
Well, he's right chatty he is. He'll rattle his bone box for hours on just how smart he is and the like. Perhaps he's got something to do with it.
Okay. Who are you?
What, me? Why, I'm Creedon, sometimes called Creed, the butcherer of rats.
He smiled grandiosely, exposing immense rows of yellowed, broken, and crooked teeth. Well, you seem friendlier than most around here.
Well, Cutter, I try. Result of my business, I thinks. Most people around here are a purely and downright unfriendly lot. But I want every Cutter to know that Creedon's always got a warm smile and a pipe of hot fresh cooked ratsy for him.
He winks at you. Are you coming on me? I had some other questions. Jesus, what is that building there behind you? He tosses a glance over his shoulder.
That's the Office of Vermin and Disease Control, Cutter. I sell my rat tails there for jinked and cook the little blighters up for sale. Cook the little blighters up and sell them. That's what he said, and I said it perfectly. We already know about Sigil, the cage. The cage? Ooh, okay, why do you call it the cage? He shakes his head and laughs, causing the dead vermin on his rat pole to wiggle about. You see, Cutter, it's on account of all the doors. Some folk call Sigil the City of Doors. Magical doors they are, and everywhere too. They lead to anywhere, and I mean anywhere. But here's the trick of it all. They're all locked, so it's more a cage than anything else. You can only come and go if you have the right key.
Already kind of knows. Oh, ask your Mimir. Mort seems taken aback as all eyes fall on him. What? What? You get the impression that had he lips, he'd be whistling innocently. Okay. Mort, I want you to tell us what you have to say about doors and keys. Even though we already know, I want you to know.
Oh, come on, Chief. Why would I hold out on you? I've told you everything useful I know. Let's just get back to this Burke's take on the whole thing.
All right, fine. Sigils, yeah, full of doors. Each has a door. Okay. How do you find out what key opens what door? He shrugs, bobbing the rat pole and sending the cooked vermin down. You have to ask the right people. People who know the dark. Okay, so I assume we don't know where it leads, where we can go. Do you have any insight on the Lady of Pain? I, the Mistress of Sigil. I don't know. I don't talk about the lady. Don't go asking about her. It'll bring luck. Ill luck on ye. I'm so sorry that I can't speak. All right. Let's roll through Old Faithful. Do you know someone named Farad? He looks a bit surprised. Farad? Why, it'd be a cutter looking for a man like that. I just need to find him.
He's the head of a pack of collectors, he is. Moves about all the time, probably to avoid trouble. Calls some place in Ragpicker Square his case, most likely. He's the right crafty fellow, the Farad. A cutter better watch himself around that fellow.
Okay, Ragpicker Square, I assume, is... Okay, yeah, it looks like it's to the west of us, so... No journal. Alright. I don't want a little ratsy. I don't want a little ratsy. Thank you, though. Let's go into this office and see what we got here.
All right.
I'm thinking this is probably a good place to end. I am interested. We're getting a little bit closer to Rat Picker Square. Listen, I have rats on the brain, and they're not likely to leave anytime soon. I am interested to see where this goes because, again, everywhere we go, even if we're not necessarily making progress directly on the main quest, we are running into people that recontextualizes who we are. Everybody in this city, not everybody, but a lot of people in this city seem to have bits and pieces of a past life of ours. And the most interesting thing about that is that we have no idea what part of that past life they're referring to. It could be a past life from eons ago. It could be the last life that we led. We have no way of knowing. And I feel like Farad is the person that will help piece it all together. I feel like that is the person, probably, at least so far, we are closest to. So I am really interested to see where that goes. And we are fairly close to Ragpicker Square. I think probably next time we'll be able to make our way over there. But a lot of this exploration that we're doing is adding to figuring out who we are, learning a little bit more about ourselves, recontextualizing what we're supposed to be doing. And yeah, I mean, I think that once we finish exploring this place as a whole, then really it's about like following whatever quests we have, finding Farad. But we are making our way there, and I anticipate we will find him sooner rather than later. So until next time, thank you once again for following me on this journey of Planescape Torment, Part 5. I will see you all on the next episode. Take care.